Hi guys, Brad McKinnon here, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to look at and talk about why we get little air bubbles in our compound. You can see here I'm just putting on a second coat. It doesn't normally happen with the first coat, it always happens with the second coat and subsequent coats after the first. You can see here all the little air bubbles starting to come out there. Well, I'll show you a little tip how you can get rid of these, and it's pretty simple. What we're going to do is, instead of putting on a sort of a thickish filler coat, we're going to put on a real fine thin coat, real tight skim, just like that, and we're just going to let that set for a couple of minutes. Then we're going to come back and do our filler coat, and you'll see that you won't get any air bubbles. I'm just going to show you here, and we're just going to talk about it here for a little bit on these couple of other patches here. Just putting that filler coat on there, and you can see the air bubbles starting to come through. Now right in the middle of these patches you can see there's no air bubbles, and that's because I've put a new piece of drywall or a new piece of plasterboard in. These are all little old holes. And the reason there's no air bubbles there is because the water from the plaster is actually being sucked into the new drywall, because there's no paint there. Where the air bubbles are coming up is where there's a sealer coat of paint on there. So the water cannot go through the paint, cannot be sucked through the paint to sort of dry. The water has to escape through the front of the plaster, and it creates these air bubbles so it can dry. So that's the reason we get them. And to avoid them, it's pretty simple. Do a real tight coat, tight skim coat, like that. Then it's essentially drying just from the front. There's not a lot of plaster on there, so it doesn't have to, it won't bubble. So, but if you have to put that filler coat on, just let it stand for 2 or 3 minutes. And then come back here like we've just done and put your filler coat on, and you won't get any air bubbles. Now for subsequent coats, all you really need is a tight coat, so you won't get any more. But if you have to do another filler coat, you can do the same process again. A real tight skim coat, wait a few minutes, and then put your filler coat on. So again, with these ones we've just let stand for a few minutes, and we're coming back to put our filler coat on there, and absolutely no air bubbles coming through. So that's a handy little tip. Let me know in the comments if you knew about this little tip, or if you've got any more information on these little air bubbles. I'd love to hear it. But thanks for watching. Hope you learned something, and I'll see you on the next one.